Have you ever just stopped and like looked around and thought, what is all this? What does it even mean to exist?
It's a pretty fundamental question.
It is. And thankfully, some really smart people have been thinking about this for centuries.
That's right.
It's the whole field of metaphysics.
Exactly, metaphysics.
The study of being and reality. And today we are diving deep into the mind of one of the OGs of metaphysics, Aristotle.
Ah, yes.
We're going to be exploring his ideas on existence, substance, and the nature of reality.
Based on his work, Metaphysics.
That's right. His actual work called Metaphysics.
Straight from the source.
Yes. And what's so fascinating about Aristotle is that he wasn't just like thinking about this stuff, just on his own.
No.
He was building on literally centuries of philosophical debate.
Yeah, he's responding to other thinkers. He's pushing back against some ideas, building upon others.
Like Plato.
Right. Oh, yes.
Big time.
Didn't he have that whole theory of forms thing going on?
He did.
Something about like the perfect idea of a tree like existing somewhere out there? Yes. So Plato believed that the things that we experience in this world are just imperfect copies of these perfect forms. So there's like the perfect form of beauty, just as a tree.
Right.
And the things that we see are just these kind of pale imitations.
So he was more into that realm of ideal forms than like the messy world we actually live in.
That's right.
Okay, so Plato's up there.
In the clouds.
But Aristotle was more grounded. He actually looked at the stuff right in front of him.
Yeah, he's much more interested in this world.
The things that actually exist.
Yeah, and he believed that to understand the nature of something, you have to look at it.
Yeah.
Its specific properties and how it functions.
In this world.
In this world, not some other ideal world.
So where does this concept of substance come in?
Okay.
Because, to be honest, when I hear substance, I think of like stuff.
Yeah.
Like the substance of this table is wood.
Right. It's a very common way to think about it. But Aristotle's idea of substance is much more nuanced. For him, substance isn't just the material a thing is made of, it's the fundamental thing itself. The thing that exists has properties and can change over time.
So the wood isn't the substance of the table. The table itself is the substance.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think of it this way. You could take that wooden table, chop it up, burn it, whatever. The wood changes, but the tableness is gone.
Right.
That's the substance.
Huh?
Or think about it like your favorite coffee mug. It might get stained.
Yeah.
But it's still your mug.
Right.
That enduring mugness.
Yes.
That's its substance.
Wow. That makes it much clearer.
Okay.
It's not just about the stuff of a thing, it's the essence of what makes it that thing.
Yes.
So how did Aristotle figure out what the essence of something was?
Well, he had a framework for that. His famous 4 causes.
Okay.
And it's not just cause and effect like you might think.
Right.
It's more about explaining the why behind a thing's existence.
Yeah.
Why does this thing exist?
4 causes lay 'em on me.
All right, so let's think about your smartphone.
Okay.
Material cause, what's it made of?
The glass, the metal, all the fancy components.
Exactly, all
Yeah.
the stuff.
Right.
The formal cause is its design, the shape, the features that make it a smartphone and not just a pile of parts.
Right. It has to look and function like a smartphone.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the other 2 causes?
Okay, so the efficient cause is the maker, the force that brought it into being. So in this case, it would be all the engineers, the designers, the factory workers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Who made your phone a reality?
So it's not just about the what of the phone, but also the who and the how it came to be.
Yes.
What's the final cause then?
The final cause, this is where things get really interesting. The final cause is the purpose of the smartphone.
Okay.
What was it designed to do?
To connect people.
Yep.
To access information.
That's right.
To provide entertainment.
Yes.
Oh,
that's right.
all of those things.
So Aristotle would say that a smartphone's very existence is tied to its purpose.
That's a pretty deep thought. But doesn't that make things kind of like predetermined? Like if everything has a final a purpose?
Yeah, and that brings us to another key concept from Aristotle.
Okay.
Actuality and potentiality.
Here we go, down the metaphysical rabbit hole.
That's right.
Okay.
So for Aristotle, actuality is the current state of a thing,
Okay.
while potentiality is everything it could become.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it like this. Your smartphone right now is actually a device for making calls, browsing the internet, taking pictures.
Right.
But it also has the potential to be so much more.
Okay.
New apps, new features, maybe even uses we haven't even imagined yet.
So it's not just what it is now, but what it could be. It's like
Mhm.
its future possibilities are a part of its reality right now.
That's the idea.
Okay.
And it's not just smartphones.
Right.
Aristotle would say you, as a listener,
Oh.
have potentialities within you.
Whoa.
You're not just a fixed, unchanging being.
Uh-huh.
You have the capacity to grow, learn, develop new skills and qualities.
Whoa. That's deep. So I guess Aristotle might say my vision board is a reflection of my potentiality. I'm drawing out the possibilities that are already within me. But hold on. How does this all connect back to the four causes? Does our potential also have causes?
It does. That's a great question. It really gets to the heart of how Aristotle saw the world. He believed that everything that exists has these potentialities kind of woven into its being. But those potentialities are shaped by the same four causes.
So like my potential to become, say, a master chef
Yeah,
is influenced by the material cause. Like, do I even have access to ingredients in a kitchen?
exactly. And the formal cause would be the skills and techniques you need to learn. The efficient cause could be a great teacher or mentor who guides you. And the final cause, well, that would be your passion for cooking, your desire to create delicious food and share it with others.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah,
But let's be honest, this is some pretty heavy stuff.
it is.
Does any of this really matter in the 21st century? I mean, Aristotle wasn't exactly dealing with self-driving cars and cryptocurrency, was he?
True, but that's what's so amazing about philosophy. These ideas, even though they're ancient, they can still help us make sense of the world around us.
Right.
Take Aristotle's emphasis on observation.
Okay.
It's at the core of how we do science today.
Right.
Right. Instead of just accepting things on faith, we go out and test them, gather data, build knowledge from what we observe.
It's like he laid the groundwork for the scientific method without even knowing it.
Exactly. And when you think about how much of our modern world is built on scientific discovery and innovation,
Right.
it's pretty mind-blowing to see that connection to Aristotle.
Speaking of innovation, I'm curious about how the four causes apply to the things we create today.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense for a smartphone, but what about something like, I don't know, a social media platform? Does that have a final cause?
That's a really interesting question. I think Aristotle would say it absolutely does. Yeah. The creators of a social media platform had a purpose in mind,
Okay.
right? Whether it was to connect people, share information, build communities, or even generate profit. That purpose, that intention is part of what shapes the platform's essence of how it functions, even how it evolves over time.
Okay.
Right.
Seeing the four causes everywhere now.
I know, right?
But all of this seems very focused on the external world. Stuff we can observe,
Yeah.
technology we create. What about our internal lives, our personal growth? Did Aristotle have anything to say about that?
He did. And this is where the concept of potentiality gets really powerful.
Okay.
Remember, you have all these potentialities within you, things you could become, skills you could develop, experiences you could have. But those potentialities aren't just going to magically unfold on their own.
So it's not enough to just like sit around and say, I have the potential to be a rock star.
Not quite. Aristotle believed that to realize our potential, we need to act on it.
Okay.
We need to develop our character, cultivate our virtues, and strive for excellence in all that we do. It's like he's giving us ancient Greek self-help advice.
In a way, he is. And you know, that's one of the things I find so fascinating about Aristotle.
Yeah.
His ideas aren't just abstract theories. They have practical applications
Right.
for how we live our lives,
Yeah.
how we make choices, how we strive to become better versions of ourselves.
This is blowing my mind. I'm starting to see my own life, my own goals, through this Aristotelian lens of potentiality and actuality. But you know what else I'm thinking about? What if Aristotle was like hanging out with us today?
Yeah.
You know, what do you think he would say about all this crazy technology?
Oh my God.
The internet, artificial intelligence, the metaverse? This is not ancient Greece.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of the beauty of philosophy,
Right.
is that it gives us these tools for thinking that we can kind of apply across time and cultures.
Right.
So yeah, I think Aristotle would have a lot to say about our modern world.
Okay, so let's put on our like Aristotelian lenses for a second and take a look around. Where do we even start? Well, I think he'd probably start by asking those fundamental questions.
Like what?
Like, what is the substance of this technology? What is its essence? Does it have a final cause? Does it have a purpose?
Those are some big questions.
Yeah.
It's like trying to figure out the soul of a smartphone.
Exactly. And, I think he'd be particularly fascinated by the internet,
Oh, yeah.
this vast interconnected network
Yeah.
that allows us to communicate and share information
Right.
and even create these like new forms of reality.
It's like a whole new layer of existence.
Right.
So how would Aristotle even wrap his head around something like that?
I think he'd see it as a powerful tool for connection and communication.
Okay.
Remember, Aristotle was a student of rhetoric and politics. He was very interested in how humans interact and share ideas.
So he might say that the final cause of the internet is to like bring people together, foster dialogue and understanding.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. But I think he'd also be aware of the potential downsides.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The spread of misinformation, the erosion of privacy, the way it can be used to manipulate and control.
Yeah, the internet is definitely a double-edged sword.
It is.
It's like it has all these potentialities for both good and bad.
And that's exactly what Aristotle would focus on, those potentialities. He'd want to understand not just what the internet is, but what it could become.
Right.
How it could shape our lives and our society.
Both positive and negative ways.
In both positive and negative ways, yeah.
It's making me wonder if Aristotle would even consider the internet to have a kind of moral dimension. Like, is it inherently good or bad? Or is that up to us to decide?
That's a really deep question. And I'm not sure Aristotle would have a simple answer. But I think he'd say that any tool or technology created by humans inevitably reflects our values, our choices, our potentialities for both good and evil.
So it's not about judging the technology itself, but rather how we use it.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the power of these technologies and using them responsibly, ethically, and in ways that contribute to human flourishing.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about artificial intelligence?
Oh,
That seems even more complex than the internet.
right.
How do you think Aristotle would approach something that can seemingly think and learn on its own?
Now that's where things get really interesting. I think Aristotle would be both fascinated and perhaps a little bit terrified by AI.
Right.
He might even have to rethink some of his ideas about the nature of the soul.
Right. Can a machine have an essence or a final cause? Can it actualize its potential? I have so many questions.
And that's the point. Aristotle's ideas give us a framework for asking those questions,
Right.
for grappling with the ethical and philosophical implications of these rapidly evolving technologies.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I'm
Yeah.
seeing the world and all its tech in a whole new light.
That's what we hoped for. And, this is just a starting point.
Right.
Aristotle's works are full of rich insights that can help us navigate the complexities of our modern world.
So listeners, as you scroll through your social media feeds, fire up your AI assistants, or just contemplate the nature of reality itself. Remember, Aristotle is still relevant.
He is. He challenged us to think deeply about existence, substance, and the nature of reality. And those questions are more important than ever as we navigate these kind of uncharted waters of the 21st century.
So keep those philosophical lenses polished and your minds open to new possibilities.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy learning.